Hey guys, wanted to do a quick video on something that I've talked about with some of y'all and wanted to make sure everyone had this. Um, that is knowing when to skill kick versus when to luck kick. So anyway, there's a situation that came up I saw yesterday where Skylar Woodward was playing Robbie Capito, and Robbie, I wanted to show you the safety he hit where he clipped the three ball and went one, two, three, four rails behind the 5-9. God damn it, the thing's purple. Okay, so Sky has this spot at the table. Now, I've talked about it. So here's the summary, right? Is that in the 90s or the late 80s before Efren came along, when people were hooked, people just used to kick really hard and hope and just try to get lucky or just try to make a hit. Like there was not really much skill to the game. They just kicked hard and the reason why that is because up until the 80s, it had always been two shot push out. There wasn't a lot of safety play. I'm not going to get that down in the weeds, but playing safe where you could get ball in hand was like a new thing. So safety play was very underdeveloped and kicking was very underdeveloped. And so everybody kicked really hard. And then Efren came along and growing up from playing three cushion and full rotation and having a lot of kicking skills, Efren came along at 85 and started kicking safe and kicking edges of balls and doing these little finesse kicks where he wasn't just blasting hard. And so because of that, he really dominated in that part of the game. And so everybody was like really like Efren's the greatest ever, which of course he is, or one of them. But what happened was people took it too far. And there was a narrative that was formed, which is only like cavemen kick hard and try to get lucky. And when you get better, that's like how they played old school kicking, the old unskilled players would just kick a hope. We're skilled players and we want to play like Efren where we kick with finesse and kick safe because we're sophisticated and all that stuff. The problem is things get exaggerated. So what happened? One of the things that got exaggerated was the reason Efren was exaggerated is because he came along at a part of the game when everybody was really underdeveloped with kicking and safes, and he was very strong in those areas. So because of a recent rule change, his skill set stood out, and people were really blown away. Had that been Texas Express 9-ball rules for 20 years and Efren came along, he would have been great, but it wouldn't have been as legendary. And so Efren was part of who changed the game. I'm not taking away. What I am saying though is that people can take it too far. So the way I would say it is when you kick, you have luck equity and you have skill equity, meaning if you kick hard, you're going to win some games due to sheer luck. But if you kick soft, you can win some games if you are able to execute a skill kick. So I think it's important to understand when to shoot a skill kick and when to shoot a luck kick. So in this case, Sky is hooked. And the question is, what skill kick does he have? What can he possibly hope to achieve with a soft kick? So if he kicks at this ball, he's kicking to the end rail. There is no way to hit the three and get behind the six. I mean, you would have to catch it exactly half ball and then run into exactly half ball on the six to stay behind it. Because if you kick, you're going to, even if you hit it perfect, you're going to run into the six. If you run into the six full, boom, you're not hooking the guy. And if you run into the six thin, you can get past it. And so you actually have to kick the right part of the three to catch the right part of the six to get behind it. And meanwhile, you're kicking the three up in space where there's no possible way you're getting that three ball hooked, and it's probably going to come off the end rail or not get to the end rail and leave some type of hit. So you're going all in. If you kick soft to try to get beyond the six, you're going all in, and on a very very low percentage kick safe. And if you do the same way, there's a lot of ways to kick the three up in front of this corner, but to try to cut the three like one rail to the end rail and maybe get beyond the nine. Well, if it hits the six, it's selling out. And if it hits the side, it's selling out. And if it goes up in front of the corner, it's selling out. Like you just can't control the aim on that well. And there's a good chance you're going to hit it thick. Cue ball's going to roll through and leave the three up here. And if you try to kick it thinner, it could hit the six and your cue ball can leak. Like it's a really, really low percentage to try to get behind something. The last idea would be to kick and back cut the three up table, but you can airball the thing. You can hit it. It's really easy to miss it or hit it thick in front of the corner. So bottom line, there's really not an effective kick safety here. So when I was watching this, I was actually watching this with a student. I said I would kick with a little bit more speed. I would not try to execute a safety kick. I would try to get lucky here. And if you look at what Sky does, he gets down, and he does not play. He understands this. He understands he doesn't have a skill kick. So he plays it with a medium speed. He doesn't get crazy. Well, okay, it looks like he gets a little crazy, but look at, he slops something in and then he goes on and makes a good run out. So for those that want to see the run out, you can look up Sky and here, I'll arrow through it. You guys can see he makes some good shots. He has to get on the 4 ball. So he actually cinches this ball, plays for the bank. Whoops. Taking what the table gives him. And then he swings a couple rails around. 3 rails around, probably. I don't remember. You can't drag this 2 rails around because the corner. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys what happened. So my point is that you have skill equity and luck equity. And if you kick with speed, you give yourself a chance to get lucky. You give yourself a chance to slop in a ball. You give yourself a chance to get a hook that you could never have planned for. And so if you kick with some, a medium firm speed here, I don't know what percentage of the time you're going to make a ball. I don't know what percentage of the time you're going to get safe, but let's suppose that you're like 50, maybe you're like 10 to 15% to slop in a ball here. And that out of the times you don't slop in a ball, you might be like, and this works really well with the 9-4-8. Like there's a lot of balls out in space. So it's hard to skill kick behind the 9 or the 4. I'm sorry. God damn it. It's still the 9 or the 5. It's hard to skill kick behind the 8. And it's certainly hard to skill kick behind the 4 ball. Yeah. So, but if you kick firm and the ball's all scrambled, there's a lot of stuff out in space to where you have a very good chance of getting lucky. And I would think that you're like 12% to kick in a ball, and you're probably like 30% to get some kind of snooker. And then you're probably another, or maybe you're 25% to get a snooker, and maybe you're another like 10 or 15% to leave a really awkward shot with difficult position. So like, I feel like in a layout like this, if you kick firm, you're an underdog, but not by much. Like you might be like a 40% dog from here overall if you blend out, like, because not every time you hook them you're going to win, and not every time you leave a shot are they going to run out, not every time you kick this in are you going to run out. So like, but I think you can win a good 40% of the games from here kicking firm, whereas I think if you kick soft at this, I think your eggs are all in like one basket, which is like very, very small. I think your odds go from 40% down to like 15, 20, maybe 15. Like it's just not good. You're giving up a ton of equity. So you're giving up a ton of luck equity in a spot where there's no skill equity. So I was just going to stop the video there, but maybe I'll see if I can find another example. Okay, I'm back. And here's a slightly different situation. This is not about a kill. This is not about a luck equity on a kick. It's about luck equity on a safety. This is one where Robbie Capito Skylar had left him this shot. If you want to see how he got here, let's see. I'll see if I can back it up. Sky played this safety, which is one of the standard safeties, and played a really good 2 ball. And he played really good cue ball, just leaked out a little. So now the question is, what the heck does Robbie do? Okay. And it's really tough from here. The 2 ball's like near frozen. So you can't like come off our left side of the 2 and bank the 2 up table. It's a double kiss. So you can try to scrape the edge of the 2, but then you're running into the 6, and you can't like scrape the 2 and go up back beyond the 4 because the 6 is in the way, and you're leaking the 2 out. And so, and if you hit any thicker at the 2 ball, you're going to double kiss it. So then you're going to double kiss it unless you hit off our right side of the 2 ball. So if he hits off this side of the 2 ball, the 2's chipping over in front of the hole, the cue ball, it's really hard. Like, what are you going to try to go 1, 2 behind the 5 ball? Sorry. Are you going to try to go 2 rails beyond the 5? And if you miss, the 2 is out in space and you got it's like really, really tough, right? So he tries slow rolling at this ball. He tries slow rolling off our left side of the 2 and chipping it and trying to get beyond the 6 and letting the 2 maybe creep out beyond the 9. And actually he hit it really well. So who am I to say like that this is bad? But I'll say that this is bad. If you slow roll a ball from 10 feet away or 9.5 feet away, Grady Matthews said religiously, slow rolling a ball length of the table is almost always disastrous. Now, maybe this isn't that bad, okay, because he shot it and it almost worked. And so he was, and to be fair, he was kind of in a desperate spot, right? He was kind of in a desperate spot. And so maybe slow roll. But I'll tell you, if you watch the number of times players slow roll a ball from 10 feet away, they very, very, very rarely do you see Jason Shaw slow roll a ball from 10 feet away or Josh Filler. They just very, very rarely is this the right shot, because you can roll off and miss the ball. You can roll off and double kiss it. And even when you hit it good, he sold out. And Sky was able to cut this ball in. So it just seems like he's going all in on a very, very low percentage maneuver. And I didn't like this shot. And he executed it to perfection and it still didn't work. And I just felt like, I feel like this thing can roll off and hit full and double kiss, and or it could roll off and miss the whole ball. For you to roll 9.5 feet and then clip an exact part of this ball and then get exactly like that, it's just really, really hard. So I feel like it's a skill shot. He's going skill, but I feel that it's a skill shot with very, very, very low. It's a very low percentage skill shot. And I would rather take a little bit of a gamble. So the gamble I liked here was shooting three, like maybe half ball on our right side of the two. Not enough to get a double kiss, but like medium thick on this side of the ball. Because if you're rolling, what's going to happen is the cue ball is going to hit the end rail, and it's going to overspin, especially on slick cloth. And this thing could come one, arc, two, and dribble behind the 8, or it could come one rail, arc, and hang up in the jaws, or the cue ball is going to come one rail and arc and slide over this way. It might run into the 8, right? But meanwhile, what's the 2 going to do? The 2 is going to bank. It could clip the 9 and wiggle, or it could miss the 9, right? Like it might miss the 9, it might clip the 9. It's probably going to miss the 9, but not necessarily, because you're hitting it a little thick. So if let's just say you bank, I mean, it could go in the side, it could go 2 rails off the 3, it could go 2 rails into the 3 and then drift through the 3 and end up on the head rail. I mean, it could come 1, 2 rails and clip the 3 and end up beyond the 4. Like there's a lot of good things that can happen. And what I do know is that you're basically letting the 2 ball go. You're saying, I don't care where the 2 ball goes. I'm going to try to arc my cue ball, give it, if I had to shoot this shot 5 times, I would expect 2 out of 5 times I get behind the 8. And that the other 3 times, my cue ball is going to be in this quadrant where it's going to run into the 8 and leave them down here. And that the 2 ball is going to be somewhere up table where it could be blocked by the 3. It could be behind the 3. It could be on the head rail. I feel like if I shoot this shot, maybe 2 out of 5 to get behind the 8 is ambitious, but even if I'm 1 and 4 to get behind the 8, so 25% of the time I'm going to get a snooker behind the 8, and then like another 25% of the time I'm going to leave him down here, and the 2 ball is going to it's going to end up on the head rail or behind something. I feel like, I don't know if I'm 50-50, but I'm probably a good 40% to shoot this and walk away in a good spot. And so I'm like, but I can't control my shot. Like my shot's kind of a little bit of an arky kind of gambly shot, but it's not something that you can really control, but it's something that I'm trusting a little bit, that I'm giving something a good chance to happen. And maybe the 2 clips the edge of the 9 and cuts the 9 on the side, or the 9 comes 1 rail off the 4. There's some good things that can happen, maybe I leak out my cue ball, but the 2 goes 2 rails off the back of the 3. And I'm like, I'm a winner. So it's like, nothing good can happen with this slow roll shot unless it goes perfect, and you have to execute it perfect. And I feel like you have to get lucky for the ball to roll correctly. I actually feel like you have to get a good roll for that to work. So I guess what I'm saying is there's luck and there's skill. And if you're going to sacrifice, anytime you have a shot, a safety or a kick, you always have the option of kind of blasting into the balls and moving around and try to get lucky. Now we develop our skills, and we're trying to develop skills in kicking and safeties to where we do that less and less often. But when the situation is such that your skill is such an underdog, then I think it's okay once in a while to just, don't sacrifice your luck equity unless you're going to replace it with more skill equity than you sacrificed on luck equity. And here I feel like we've had 40% luck equity in both of these situations. And I feel like in Sky's case, he took that luck equity and it worked out. In this case, in Robbie's case, I feel like he gave up that luck equity and took a skill equity that had like 25% instead of 40. That was my feel. And now I'm humble enough. No, I'm not. I'm open-minded enough to know that I might be wrong on some of these. Okay, but these are just my opinions. So thought I'd share them. So it'd be fun to like post different situations, maybe on this thread. If you guys see some interesting safety or kick spots and you want to post them and debate, like, luck, do you go for luck or do you go for skill here? The only other thing I'll say is that the speed that Skylar kicked that shot, this one here, he kicked firm, but he didn't kick break speed. And I just want you to see he kicked real firm, but it was still a shot. It was still like a nice smooth swing. He didn't like blast it where stuff's bouncing off the table and he's airballing the thing. There's a speed that sometimes when people kick hard, when they're trying to get lucky, they go too far. And you always want to shoot them like shots. And so kicking it with like a firm medium and accuracy is going where you're going to tickle ball, move balls around. A firm medium is the right speed. That was the perfect speed to use. Had he gone any harder, it would have, like, then what happens? You start kicking really hard, you lose your accuracy in your air ball, you clip the edge of it, and then also the cue ball is the one that's running all over. And if you'll notice, it's better to be 80% here and just a nice, smooth, firm hit. And then, he still hit the edge of the ball. But anyway, you're going to get better results. So, okay. Hope you guys got something out of that. Talk to you later.